Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Marvel Legends Age of Apocalypse series Sugarman Build-A-Figure Wave Wild Child figure review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini Mafex, I'm fucking with them. Hype beast, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
7 figures in the wave. You're going to need all 7 figures to complete the Sugarman Build-A-Figure. And a quick look at the side art. It is the same on the left and the right flap. Alright, Kyle Gibney, aka Wild Child. His bio on the back of the package reads, "Enhanced regeneration and superhuman senses make Wild Child an excellent tracker." So quite a few different iterations of Wild Child. I guess his main Marvel Universe persona was originally introduced in Alpha Flight #1 back in 1983. And I think he was like a regular normal child until his mutant abilities start to manifest, and then he kind of like devolved into like sort of animal feral version of himself. I think when he was with Alpha Flight, he was sort of like a protege of Sasquatch, if I'm not mistaken, or he was looking after him at some point. But you know, he's had different phases throughout the comics where he's been more feral and more normal, I guess, but he still has powers similar to that of Wolverine or Sabretooth, where he has enhanced senses and strength and some regeneration capabilities like they mentioned on the bio. And his Age of Apocalypse version here was similar to the main universe story, I guess, but he ended up being used by Apocalypse and Holocaust to basically just rip through Canadians as Apocalypse was moving his forces forward and taking over the globe, I suppose. And at one point he was captured, and then I guess he was put in a cell with Sabretooth, and they were hoping that he would kill Sabretooth. But they fought a bunch, but he ended up actually being kind of subservient to Sabretooth and sort of like his pet of some sort. So that's why you normally see Sabretooth and Wild Child together in artwork as it relates to AOA. So with that said, he is packed in with one accessory. Well, let me show the Build-A-Figure part first. He's packed in with the back to complete the Sugarman Build-A-Figure. And then he's also packed in with this chain, which actually can be attached to the back of his collar. You can see how the loop is not complete, and then you can just snap it on there in the back. Unfortunately, this is not articulated. It's kind of just fixed in this position, so you can't really move it around. Even though it is a softer pliable plastic, you could maybe do like a hot water cold water trick and get it to hold a position for a little while. But I do like that. I do like the length though. I like that it's actually has quite a bit of give on it. There's no way that we're going to get a Wild Child with a chain and not get Sabretooth. So like I mentioned in the first review, you know, this is just wave 1 of the AOA characters. I'm sure we'll see quite a few more. To me, it looks like this is the same buck that they may have used for Jackal, or at least some of the parts, at least the hands and maybe the feet. I would have to break Jackal out to do a comparison. But at first glance, I wasn't really happy with this particular body for Wild Child. I thought he should be smaller, but apparently I was corrected and he is pretty tall. So it is a well articulated buck, but I wish that there was more. I wish they would have did something totally new for this character, so that way you could really mess around and make it look like he is super agile and get him in some of those kind of real low crouching poses. But it's okay. It is true to form as far as the look from the comic book, but something just seems a little off to me for this particular buck. I don't like the way the head can't be moved all the way back either. He can look down pretty far, but it is hindered by his hair, and the hair on this particular character is very tough. It's very hard. And for the record, you can remove the head and hands, so if you wanted to replace the hands with some other clawed hand that you may have in your arsenal, then you can. And real quick, just in terms of articulation, you saw how the head moves. You do get a little bit of pivot. Left to right is no problem. It's just front and back that is the issue. Shoulders are on a ball joint. You can do a full 360. There is a butterfly joint there as well. Upper bicep rotation, double jointed elbow, a swivel, and a hinge on the wrist. Like I said, you can pop out the hands and head. You do get some ab articulation. He doesn't go forward enough. And you know, this is that buck that has this elongated sort of midsection and pelvic area. So with all of this this space, they could have put that ab crunch lower or made it deeper, and that's unfortunate. You can still swivel him at the waist, which is good. There's a T-joint at the pelvis. Leg will come up that far. A split will look like that. You do get upper thigh rotation and a double jointed, as well as a hinge and a nice deep ankle pivot. So yeah, it's just really this pelvic area that I'm concerned about, or that I'm a little disappointed about. Alright, size comparison time. So I tried to break out all of the like-bodied figures I could get my hands on quickly. All of this sort of furry, feral, clawed, toes out guys that I could find right now. So on the far left is the Kingpin Build-A-Figure Wave Puma, and then right next to him is the Sandman Build-A-Figure Wave Jackal, and then right in the middle is Wild Chow, and then next to Wild Chow is the SDCC Raft box set Spider-Man, and then on the far right is the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure Wave Sabretooth. So I was totally wrong about Wild Child being on the same buck as Jackal. As you can see, Jackal's upper torso is much girthier. He's larger up top. And actually, this is more of one of these Spider-Man bucks, actually. So you can see that he looks pretty identical to Spider-Man as far as the torso and the pelvic area, lower torso. Now, while the hands and the feet might be the same mold as the Jackal hands and feet, it looks like they may be just a tad bit smaller. I'm not 100% sure on that, but you can see that Jackal and Puma seem to share the same exact hands and feet. So it looks like Pizza Spider-Man buck with some different hands and feet, different head, collar, just a bunch of stuff that they have used before or will reuse. And I don't think that they'll be using this same buck for an AOA Sabretooth that you see here. A lot of people were disappointed by this Sabretooth, at least by the head. The actual body wasn't terrible, but the head to neck ratio just looked really odd. And one more before I get out of here. This is him side by side with most of his wave mates that I've reviewed so far. So AOA Jean Grey, AOA Sunfire, AOA X-Man, and then I left Sabretooth in there for good measure. So Wild Child, not one of my favorites out of the wave, but necessary to the story, necessary to pick up if you want to complete the Build-A-Figure, and not bad. I did do a comparison off camera to look at both hands, or his hands side by side with Jackal's. Definitely Wild Child's hands and feet are smaller, and I think for the most part they picked a buck that would represent the character properly from the pages of the comic. Again, I just really wish that he was more articulated. But that's it for this one. Thanks for hanging out. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
That's crispy.